Well boys, welcome back to the channel. Right in front of us is the motor we are using for our Honda build, the all-wheel drive K-swapped build. This is a K20A2, and I have had an ongoing debate in my head, even before I started this particular build, on whether I want to keep this motor stock or build it. But for you guys that are new to the channel here and don't know what's going on, I am in the process of building my dream Honda. This is an EG hatch. And we are obviously, you guys can see, a full chassis up rebuild. In the last video we went through, got the whole undercarriage wheel wells sandblasted, and I recoated it with some Raptor liner. We are making this thing look gorgeous. Then next up on this car, on the 1st of January, we are going to be painting this thing. We are going to be respraying it in the OEM Captivia blue, and then all-wheel drive swapping it, obviously our K-Series. We have a lot of fun stuff with this build. But back to today's video, we are going to be focusing on the motor itself. When I got into my accident, that is also the whole reason I'm doing a rebuild on this car. I thought I heard a little knocking noise, and I'm not quite sure if that's rod knock, if there's something else. I got hit and damaged in the accident. This has been a bone stock motor. I made like 750 wheel. I had a precision 76, 75 on this thing. Beat the living crap out of this thing, and this motor never struggled once. So today the game plan, we're gonna separate the trans from the motor, kind of get this block to a bare block, pull off the oil pan, pull off the valve cover, and just do an overall health spec on this motor, and that will kind of push whether I want to build this motor or just keep it stock. Now, first things first, we are gonna go ahead and separate the trans from the motor so we can go ahead and get this thing up onto a motor stand. Hulk put on the starter. And there goes the starter. This thing looks like kind of brand new. Not really, but I mean like the gears and everything look perfect. Well, I found the missing part to my axle when I took this thing apart like a year ago. That's funny. Huh. Another really impressive thing with this car, not only did the stock motor live, this clutch always held up. I had like absolutely no slipping issues. Granted, I was making a ton of power. The car is front wheel drive. I wasn't really hooking, but this clutch was a champ. I believe this is like a competition clutch. Regardless, this also reminds me, I need to order a new clutch for this build as well, because this is a 6-speed that was in the car. I'm putting in a 5-speed. The clutches don't work. Plus, obviously, for the power I'm going for, that clutch will not be sufficient. But I forgot I need to order a clutch, so good thing we're doing this today. I can get one of those ordered up. Just another expense on this build. So if anyone's in the market for a 6-speed, I got you. Oops. This most definitely has quite a bit of wear to it. I don't know how easily you guys are gonna be able to see this on camera. It's actually like missing chunks of the actual clutch pad. Yeah, this thing, this thing is a little bit hammered, but hey, it worked. Huh. At least this was put on with a ton of Loctite. Damn. Got a little excited here putting the motor on the engine stand. I decided to drop the car down so we can kind of get an idea of what this thing is soon going to look like. There's one thing I need your guys' help with. I cannot decide, and that is the accent color I want to go with this car. I am painting it the OEM Captivia blue. I need to get rid of this red stuff. This looks like a Superman combo. I'm not the biggest fan at all. I'm also going to be recoating the intake manifold and a lot of other pieces like that as well. And I have not decided on what the accent color is. I could just do black, but I feel like that's just too basic. I'm curious to know what you guys think. All right, boys, what we are going to do first is drain the oil from here. When I took this car apart, I never drained the oil, never touched anything. I literally just took the motor out. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, when I crashed, it sounded like there was a little bit of rod knock noise going on. It could have been anything else that was damaged, rubbing and clinking around. But obviously I'm going through the extent of building this car from the ground up essentially. I want to make sure that this motor is healthy. And I'm still debating on whether I build this motor or not. It seems kind of silly not to at this point. I'm already doing everything else to this car. But we're gonna go ahead and drain the oil, take a look at the oil, see how it looks, and kind of go from there. I don't know why. Part of me is a little bit nervous. Yeah, I guess there's only one way to find out here, guys. And we're about to see. I'm gonna tilt this motor and pray that, oh shit, wrong way. Okay. That didn't work out well. One sec. Okay, there we go. We're getting a little bit of oil coming out now. Kind of made a little mess here as I lost control of the motor. This oil is like pitch black, which is not good. But I don't see any metal shavings. And what I'm talking about, if you guys don't know, I'm looking for bearing material essentially. With rod knock, it damages and destroys your bearings and you'll be able to see it in your oil. But so far, it just looks incredibly dark. And since bearing material is magnetic, we're gonna go ahead and grab our magnet tool and kind of float it around the oil. It makes it very difficult how dark this oil is to see any reflection. I'm sure if I put a light on it, we can see as well. But first, I'm gonna start with our spill pile and just run my magnet through here. So far, she's dry. Well, so far, these are all good signs. The oil just looks very contaminated, but nothing crazy. What we're gonna do now is, if I can get this motor, we're going to flip this around and pull off the pan. Grab all the bolts here. Okay, there we go. And there we go. This pan looks clean as well. There's no play in these rods. I'm gonna turn this over. Still got the spark plugs in here. That's funny. Well, most definitely was not rod knock that I heard. Interesting. Well, I almost caught myself being lazy with this car and build. I've been debating whether I build it or just keep it stock this entire time. It makes absolutely no sense to keep this thing stock. So what we're gonna go ahead and do today in today's video is strip this thing down, get the intake manifold off all of the accessories, pull off the timing, and go ahead and order everything to build this motor. It's also very exciting because everything I'm doing to this car I've never done before, and I've never built my own motor either. So this build will be my first time I actually build, measure out, and assemble my own motor, which will be very, very cool. But let's go ahead and get this thing rotated back up, and then we can start pulling off like the valve cover and stuff like that. All of the plugs look good too, but in the garbage they go.
I really don't. I've never seen a motor be able to hold as much as you gave this.
I don't know either. I like physically tried to blow this thing up.
I know.
Good old Hondas, baby.
The head bolts come loose, tighten them down, send her to the moon again.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna actually put in head bolts and stuff now because this thing lifted so many times.
I don't need it. I mean, maybe.
Oh, I'll need it where I'm trying to go. Take a look under here. Damn, she looks good. All right, now we're gonna pull out the injector fuel rail, and then we'll get this intake manifold off as well. Ready for this? Intake manifold. Is this screw on? Huh. Quite handy. That's really cool. Interesting. Rookie. Good thing I'm not reusing this. Not that it damaged it anyway. This timing looks incredibly simple. You have your water pump, or what is this? Oh no, your oil pump. That's it. How simple. That's in there, okay. Interesting. Very interesting. But there we go. We got the motor stripped down. This motor is so easy to work on. It is completely different than obviously a Subaru motor. I love how they do almost everything on this motor more. Very, very simple. I'm very dumb and I was able to take it apart and put it back together as everything is just simple on these things. But the main reason why I wanted to strip this down tonight was one, to see the overall health of this motor, see if this had rod knock, which I thought it did. This motor is healthy as can be. I mean, even the cams look perfect. So this motor is healthy. But like I mentioned earlier, since we are going through the extent of doing such a big build on this car, it is worthwhile to build this motor. We're just gonna do a simple rod piston and we'll throw some cams on here. I did forget that these do have springs and retainers, so we'll go ahead and keep those, just add a mild cam. That way, we're not just throwing a bone stock motor in this car that's already been abused. The last thing I want is to get this car put back together and running just for a motor to come out to give out shortly after that. But I am pumped, guys. So that is one reason I wanted to get this thing torn down. But also, I am following in Devin's footsteps, and I am going to be sending every single bolt on this car to get zinc plated, and I needed the motor bolts. I didn't want to send some bolts and then send some later. So I wanted to get all the bolts off of here. So tomorrow morning, we are going to be dropping off the rest of these bolts to get zinc plated as well. Also, tearing down this motor now as opposed to when the car is ready to have a motor, this gives me time to get all of the parts in, the rods, pistons, all of the timing stuff, whatever miscellaneous stuff I need, I'll have plenty of time for that to come in. So when we do go to put this motor together, we have everything ready. We'll have all of the zinc plated bolts done. I don't really want to wait on anything if I don't have to. But with that being said, the next video for you guys, we are going to be painting this chassis and getting the frame corrected. If you guys watched the last video, Val surprised me, scared me at my shop and hung around as I was doing the undercoat. You guys may have heard in that video, he offered his help to get this thing painted and we talked off camera and I took him up on that. He is going to be teaching me kind of step by step. I'll obviously be filming everything for you guys, but he wants to make sure I have a gorgeous, great outcome with this car. If I were doing this by myself in my shop, I would probably mess things up. So we are going to be bringing this car over to Val's shop. We're gonna get the frame corrected and get this thing sprayed on the first. But thank you guys so much for watching today's videos. We are making steps forward and I'm so excited. I got a huge part list of stuff I need to buy when I get home, which is always painful as I need to spend money, but it is going to be so worth it once this car is done.